Hello everybody, Mr. Steve here, and do I have a treat for you today. I just got something in the mail. That's right, I'm finally getting a new tablet. Man, my old tablet was all messed up. I'm just kidding. I also got something else in the mail. I got a letter from a school that I did a story time for, Spiro Elementary in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. I did a story time for a bunch of the classes over there, and they sent me letters. All of the kids that I read stories to, they sent me these letters, and they're really nice, and some of them have drawings, and I really love them. Look at that there. So I thought I would spend some time, and I would read you guys some of my favorites. I have some of my favorites here, and I thought this will be fun. I'll read you guys some of my favorite letters from some actual kids at Spiro Elementary. Spiro Elementary. So these are actual letters from actual kids at Spiro the Dragon Elementary. Okay, this one's really colorful. My wife would like that one. Dear Mr. Steve, I like your funny jokes. You are hilarious to me. It was funny when you pulled out Spider-Man and Superman. Even when you pulled out Spider-Bunny and the Piggin. Then you said it was not the Piggin. Then it hit you in the head. Now that is funny. Well, pain to me is hilarious. Also, I pulled out Spider-Ham and not Spider-Bunny. Not sure what Spider-Bunny is. Right here. Spider-Ham. That's Spider-Ham. Here's another one from Caesar. Very colorful. These are all very colorful. I like that. Dear Mr. Steve, I like your stories. There are funny. You're the best story I ever heard. H-U-R-D. Ya heard with Purd. I'm Purd Habley. Did the P-Guyan go away, or is it still there? The cupcake's still alive. My cupcake come alive. Did you sort of watch the Super Bowl on Sunday? It was the 50. Their Super Bowl. But if you did not, the Patriot... the Patriot... Pay no attention to my long nails. I just never cut them. The Patriot won the game because the Rams missed the goal when they kick it. It was amazing because they made a touchdown. If you did not, I wish you did. I loved how the Piggin was picking your face. Yeah, that's a good one. Another very colorful one. Dear Mr. Steve, Midu, no nindu, to Madal, ooh, I'll ball to Madal, to Medul, to Toadle, to Medul. Hey, look at this. This might actually not be a letter from a kid. This might actually be from the Zodiac. This is Mulduano to Medual to Medun to Medun. I'm speaking in tongues here. This is amazing. Your biggest fan. I love your videos. It's either Jacob I or Jacoby. Dear Mr. Steve, I like when you read us those books to us. When you read them, you did not just read them, you did funny stuff. That is true. That is true. Dear Mr. Steve, I wonder if that's me. Is that me? I do wear a hat like that sometimes. Dear Mr. Steve, I like how funny you are at Storytime. Can you come again, please? I watch you on YouTube all the time, and I know you don't like pigeons, but I have a pigeon at home. Don't be scared. It is Gusta stuffed animal. You have a pigeon. Mr. Steve, can you come to my birthday party on March the 21st, 2019? Because you are so hilarious, and I like your voice. I like my voice, too. I have a nice voice. And my hair. None of you have mentioned my amazing hair. Dear Mr. Steve, I love your stewie. Steve in I tech yow. Roa fui in Takol. Foul the spote in bad. In bad wusty the boone, but to the boone, but was Soberman in Spibraman? With it. Spibraman. That's the new superhero. His name is Spibraman. I'm going to be working on him. Spibraman. Dear Mr. Steve, dear Mr. Steve, I liked your story that you read. It was funny when you said that you will pull out the piggin and it pecked you. That was funny. That was written by Jesus. Thank you, Jesus. Dear Mr. Steve, you're funny. You said I'm going to eat this cupcake. It was a Five Nights at Freddy's cupcake, and you pulled out Spider Ham. Yes, that's actually my daughter's Five Nights at Freddy's cupcake that I borrow. Dear Mr. Steve, I thought you needed help with reading the last time you were here at the school. You were funny, but not that funny. It takes a lot of courage to be honest. Honesty is important, kids. So, okay. You were funny, but not that funny. Funny to you, probably. Funny to pre-K. But you're not funny to me. I'm sorry. I'm sorry you might be mad or sad when you read this. Note. That's awesome. Please don't get mad at me because I don't want to be in no trouble. It actually says I don't want to be in no trouble. Have you watched Pitch Perfect? I'm so sorry if you don't like my note that I gave you. And then there's a name here, but I don't want to say it. I don't want to get this kid in trouble. But, hey, good for you. Good for you, kid. You're being so honest here with me, and I really appreciate that. You know? Wow. Dear Mr. Steve, read us a book and stories, too, he tells us. Funny stories at the gym on Friday. Morting at school day that we went back to class and we go to lunch to after recess. Oh, thank you, Caleb. You are so funny. Oh, and there's a picture of me. Look at that. There's a picture of me, and I'm wearing a fez, which is interesting, and that's the piggin. A four-legged piggin, which is interesting. Dear Mr. Steve, I bet he loves books. Also, he is so funny when he reads books. He is cool. I'm cool? I haven't been cool for a long time, but thank you. And he has a YouTube channel. I do have a YouTube channel. I love channel. Oh, channel, you know, with just a little bit of brie melted into it. It's so good. In his YouTube, he reads books. He is so hilarious. Also, he is a free ad of Piggins. I am a free ad of Piggins. I've been a free ad of Piggins for so long. Dear Mr. Steve, your story time was funny when you were running to the basketball hoop. Oh, when I realized they were putting me in the gym, I went all out physically. I was running all over the place. At one period in time, I was just running laps around the kids. It was a workout and a half. I decided to use the space. Explore the space, Gene. Really explore the space. I've got a fever, and the only prescription is more cowbell. There's a nice pigeon right there. Piggin. Sorry, there's a nice piggin right there. Oh, and there's a picture of me, and then the treasure blank, and then all of the kids. That's very nice. Dear Mr. Steve, I like about you story time is you make me loafe and Uther kids laugh. I do make Uther kids laugh, but only the Uther kids. Dear M. Steve, I liked your story because it came to life. Thanks. That's what I like to call pizzazz. With jazz hands. You got to do the jazz hands. When Mr. Steve reads stories, they come to life. Pizzazz. Thank you for coming to Santa Fe South. All the students loved your... All you students love the storytelling. Okay. Dear Mr. Steve, I liked your story. It was funny to me. Also, I hope that I get to see you. You are so hilarious. You are the funniest person in the world. Whoa. Thank you. Thank you. I'm the funniest person in the world, apparently. This is very Christmassy. I like that. Very Christmassy. Dear Mr. Steve, I like your story because you bang your head with the books. What are you talking about? I never do that. I never... Ah! Oh! I hit my head with a book. Man. What is this? Is this a treasure chest? Is this a map of the greater Cleveland area? Oh, okay, these are basketball hoops, and then I guess that's me reading the story there. Maybe. Difficult to tell. Dear Mr. Steve, you are a hilarious man. Yes, I am hilarious man. Oh, this is a good picture of me right here. Look at that. Look at that. That's me. I'm going to get that tattooed on my face. Dear Mr. Steve, you are so funny. Thank you for coming to our school. You were hilarious and cool. These kids think I'm cool. That's very weird. Oh, this is me right here. This is a perfect picture of me. Because oftentimes when I do story time, I'm actually under a rainbow that's raining and my head is on fire. That's a typical occurrence for me. You are cool and crassy. They probably meant crazy, but I am kind of crassy too, so... What is happening in this picture? It looks like I'm being eaten by a monster, doesn't it? Like this is the monster, this is the chair where I was reading stories. This is a giant monster head, just the head of a monster, and it's eating me, and I'm trying to escape from the mouth, and there's blood everywhere, and the kids are either scared or they're cheering the monster on. It's signed your friend Megan, but I might need to call the police. Oh, and this, of course, a lot of times when I'm reading stories, there are giant menacing eyes that come from the sky and just stare at me. It's a bit scary. I've been to a lot of therapists about it. Although that is a really good, Littlest Pet Shop me right there. I like that. Those are probably the basketball hoops. Thank you for reading to us. I liked the books. They were funny. Thank you for coming to our school. From Ariana. Very colorful. I like the coloring. Very colorful letters. This is the last one. Dear Mr. Steve, Mr. Steve makes story. Mr. Steve goes to kids' clothes. Mr. Steve makes story about book. Mr. Steve is scared of Pingen. Mr. Steve is funny. Sometimes he come to school to make kids laugh. I love making kids laugh with my pinky up, because this is classy stuff. Sometimes he peek by the Pingen. Mr. Steve is funny and he read book with kid. Sometimes Mr. Steve hid see form the snake. I do hid see form the snake. Sometimes Mr. Steve hid see form the snake. And the Pingen. Mr. Steve said there is no Pingen. Mr. Steve is funny and he make the kids laugh hard and hard. Thank you, Daniela. I do try and make the kids laugh both hard and hard. So those are just some of my favorite letters. I do schools. I go to schools and daycares and after-school programs and summer schools. So I do a lot of story times for a lot of different organizations. Feel free to... Coffee machine. Why must you always beep when I'm recording? Be sure and email me. Check out my websites. You can message me on Facebook if you want me to come to your school. Bye.